You read the tweet about what Waino said?
Yeah.
Clearing the air?
Pretty interesting. And it kind of goes back to what I told you I overheard. We're in Pittsburgh, and it might have been Oviedo and someone else like kind of catching up. And I heard him say, no, I know what it is now. Like he basically, and here's the thing. So he figures it out. And if it's another guy, you're like, sure you did, right?
Yeah.
But he's done that before. And he has a track record of people writing him off and him bouncing back. I want him to come back with the Cardinals. Don't guarantee him a spot in the rotation, but you never have enough pitching. See what he can do. I would look forward to that.
Don't you feel like if he comes back, though, he's pretty much guaranteed a spot in the rotation? Isn't that kind of, by default, what's going to happen? I hope he comes back, too, and I think he is. I don't think he comes out with that.
If he pitches well, that could happen.
He's also looking for a contract, so that's part of that, I think.
Yeah. Do we got what he said exactly?
Yeah. He said, want to clear a few things up. I didn't like the way I pitched down the stretch and felt I needed to explain. On August 28th, I was hit in the knee by a comebacker against Atlanta without knowing it. After that game, my stride length got shorter by almost a foot. My timing was thrown. I didn't stay diligent enough with my film work to catch it immediately. It wasn't something I'd struggled with before. The zip and crispness to my stuff returned as soon as we locked in on the problem.
I guess that cat got out of a hat.
So, and it makes sense. But here's the thing that I don't understand. With all the video and all the metrics.
And the coaching staff.
And not just the coaching staff, but the other eyes on it, right? How was this not caught?
Like somebody on Twitter could have actually
John
just
Boy
saw that. Yeah. A random fan like, hey, I really like pitching. I noticed that Adam Wainwright's stride is a foot off. That's a lot.
Isn't that a lot? I was going to say. No one picked that up?
That's what you have all, like, they're constantly analyzing things. They all got tablets in the dugout. Like, hey, a guy who was really good for 3/4 of the season has been really bad. Let's figure out what it is. No one could figure that out. That's odd to me. But, again, based on track record, if Waino says, no, I think I know what it is, he's been here before, and he's been right. How many people, when they brought him back, were like, oh, that's, a
lot. We heard that a lot.
Oh, that's a scholarship. That's the veteran scholarship. No, he turned out to be really productive. And he was good for most of last year.
Oh, I think since COVID, I don't think people have really complained, though. I mean, he's been really good since 2020. I think before that, when he was really injured, you started to wonder. But the last 3 years, he's been a freaking horse.
What is it about Twitter? So I had tweeted, and Waino probably put this out there in response to my tweet.
Of course he did.
Sure.
Because I'm an influencer.
Yeah.
It's like the girls on TikTok.
But you weren't here. I tweeted, if I were a betting man, I'd put money on Waino pitching another year, and I'd like to see it. And I got initially there was a lot of yes, I totally agree. And then it's weird. The negative stuff usually comes in later. I don't know how that works. But then a lot of people were like, hard pass. And I'm thinking, and no one said, okay, you're our ace, you're back. No, bring him back and see if he can help you. And their chances are, in my opinion, he can.
I think the issue, though, is if you look at the spots, and Dakota Hudson no longer has a spot, he could be dealt too. But if you start to look at who has a guaranteed contract, and you're looking at, so Montgomery's under control, Miles under control, Matt's under control.
They'll bring Quintana back, I think.
All right, so if you add Waino, I would think they're going to try to bring Quintana back. And oh, by the way, we haven't mentioned Jack.
Right.
So if you bring Quintana back, you're basically saying we have 6 starters, which was kind of the issue last year. Like the reason they didn't add, and everybody said you could probably use a J Happ. You could probably use that guy, but there's not really, like, if you sign Quintana, you can't 100% say that there's a spot for these guys because you have 6 for 5. Now, there'll probably be an injury. We all know that.
That's why. Because in the past...
But Waino ain't going to the bullpen.
Well, I don't know. But my point is, I've been here in the past saying, yeah, we got depth. We got depth. And you never have enough depth. Bring them all there. Let them compete. The best guys are in the rotation, and you go from there because at some point you're going to need them. That's how I would do it.
I just don't think that either Waino or Quintana at this point in their career accept an opportunity to compete for a starting spot. That's where I think you're also competing with other teams that say, look, we're going to pay you and you're going to be a starter. That's why, like, it's easier to sign a Colin McHugh type who you can say you're either a starter or length out of the bullpen. I don't think either Waino or Quintana take that role.
Well, Quintana, you say you're a starter. Waino, you say.
But come on, Waino.
Waino, you're probably a starter. Let's go.
But Waino, there's no way on earth that Ollie's going to put Waino in the bullpen if he's healthy.
If he's pitching well.
Got to stop with the hero ball BS, Jimmy Hayes. You okay with playing subpar ball? We were 55-50 against everyone not named the Pirates, Cubs, Reds. And what point do we actually get aggressive when we get in the postseason every year and get bounced? Get some more damn bats. And Ace Waino made $18 million last year. James,
He didn't make 18, did he?
We already.
I think he did.
I think it was 8. We looked 8.5 or something.
No. Yachty made like 11. Waino made a good amount.
James.
So here's what I actually, James, here's what I think my exact words were, they got to get a bat. I think I've said that.
Yeah.
They have a place. I think they've learned, okay, the offense was stagnant at times, even with the big boys in the middle who went cold at the end. They had historic pool holes in the second half, and the offense was still hit or miss. I think if the Cardinals would look at that and say, we need to replace that with a big bat. You have an opportunity for a big bat in the outfield. You have an opportunity for a masher at DH.
Catcher?
I think they're going to catcher. I mean, who's a masher that you're going to get? Contreras, pretty good player. I like him. I don't think he's that great defensively, and I actually would spend the money elsewhere. And I was saying I would get a Tucker Barnhart and Kisner and have a platoon. That way, we still have a guest for $5.90 the fan. It's not self-serving. I like Kisner. I think there's an upside. Barnhart's a guy who is good defensively, who can chip in offensively. I think the dollars would be better spent on a solid outfield guy or DH who can give you numbers.
Okay.
What about a trade? By the way, Waino
Real
made
quick,
17 and a half.
Yeah, 17.5. I said that earlier this week, and everybody said no. We looked it up, and we
Who
thought
looked it
8,
up?
But
I
that,
didn't
I
look it
didn't
up.
say no.
Last year's contract was $8 million.
okay, so I knew it was 18.
He was great last year.
Yeah.
So he was, and really, he was pretty good this year. Like, he lived up to that deal. He was really good. I think he threw 80-something plus innings or
that was
more
one
than
of the
that.
things that chapped him. He wanted to throw 200, and it does kind of make sense. He said he had a dead arm, but the arm was, as he explained it later in the series of tweets, the arm was trying to make up for the lack of stride in terms of trying to generate that energy for the velocity or action he was looking for, and it affected the arm.
And you had the report yesterday that the Blue Jays, they have 2 major league ready catchers who are pretty good, and their top prospects at catcher. So they have depth at a position. This was a report from one of the stations up there, and they basically said what they need is a lefty hitter or switch hitting center fielder outfielder. So that's also a team the Cardinals and John Mozeliak have made a lot of deals with. And if you have the Newt Bars and the Dylan Carlsons of the world, and you could actually trade for a controllable catcher for the next 3-4 years, that's a potential match too. But like the people that think the Cardinals are going to go after a shortstop, for example, I laugh at that because you had the greatest free agent shortstop market in history last year. Oh, by the way, did you look at the numbers of those guys? What they signed for and their production?
Yeah, it's not good.
Not good at all. And I'm not even saying they shouldn't have done that, but like all those guys had bad years, and Mason Wynn is 1 year away. And you know the way
Edman
the Cardinals
is good at short.
Okay, but no, I like Tommy Edman, but I think he's fantastic as a second baseman. I just think a year from now, Mason Wynn is probably going to be the everyday shortstop, at least, 2024. So I highly doubt the Cardinals go big for a shortstop. Maybe they go 1 year deal for a 32-year-old dude. But if they passed on the greatest shortstop market in history, and now Mason Wynn is 1 year away, I would be shocked if they spent big money on a shortstop.
I hope you're right. I think you may be right. But I also look at it, what do you have for the upcoming season? You can plug in Tommy there, who's Gold Glove caliber even at short, and then figure out second base, which is a lot easier to fill, especially you can look at Gorman again. You have other options there. You have Donovan. You have good options. They need a big bat, right? That's where they should spend. And also, I think Kisner, who's a member of the show,
Great
needs
human
to
being.
stay and needs to play, and has nothing to do with his affiliation with Hot Take Central.
But he can be even if he's a backup. I mean, how long was Tony Cruz here? Tony Cruz was a solid backup catcher for several years. That could be Andrew
some
Kisner.
money, yeah.
Maybe he's above that and he can prove himself. But if not, he's a capable backup at minimum.
I just think the Cardinals' last 2 seasons, they rank last in the majors, negative .6 WAR at catcher. I mean, that's pretty bad.
That's bad. But on the other hand,
Well, it's the worst.
a lot of it was Yachty, who wasn't the same offensive guy, but who also gives you look. Deadspin just put out an article, Good Riddance Yachty. I don't know if you read that, basically saying Yachty's over. Part of it, I think, was parody because the guy said he was a Cubs fan and hated Yachty. Pointed out that Yachty left, the team to go to watch his team in Puerto Rico, his basketball team. So there was a lot of that in there.
He did do that.
He did do that.
There was a lot of that venomous stuff in there, but also kind of dispelling the notion that Yachty was important in terms of handling pitchers, which I think was his hidden value, and the pitchers will tell you that. Like you gave up some stuff with an older catcher, but Yachty was a guy who helped the pitching staff. Period. By being behind the plate, and sometimes that's hard analytically to quantify.
Would have been nice if he went out there when Helsley was, having his own personal moment on the mound, imploding, and everyone sat there and didn't really do a damn thing. That would have been nice.
Yeah,
It's kind of a bad lasting thought.
So he didn't go out there and say anything to him?
I don't know. I thought they should have started doing the tomahawk chop. Maybe that would have ruffled his feathers a little.
It's just like that came out of nowhere. Like what?
Yeah, but I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I watched the thing on
This guy
He's a softie.
was
He's a big
asked about
softie.
it.
He
It's not
can't
like
go
he
in there.
weighed in, and you're still angry at him
tomahawk
for
chop.
expressing his opinion when asked about it.
It proves
You know
he's
what?
kind of soft.
You are pro censorship, sir.
Proves he's kind of soft.
Oh man, the tomahawk shop.
By the way, that thing is still going in Atlanta.
It's unbelievable.
And I maybe I'm wrong, but it seemed like early on in the game they were trying not to show it because you could hear the chant. They got a guy on first,
I
and
know.
you hear the chant, but they're not showing it. I don't know if that was intentional. And I think once as the game went on, you couldn't hide it, and they started doing cutaways of the fans doing the chop.
But like, however you feel about the issue, the Braves don't care.
they don't give a damn.
They've started to chop on. Like now the people say chop on as basically a way to say F you to tell us to stop chopping.
Yeah.
And I'm watching that game last night. Right behind home plate is the huge tomahawk. So whatever MLB is trying to do, the Braves are not on the same page.
I think
clearly.
I think initially
in a bunch.
I think initially, and I don't recall, how it went from A to B to C, but I think initially the Braves were like, all right, guys, we got to figure this out. This probably isn't the right thing to do anymore. And the fans were like, we're still doing
Screw
it.
you.
And they were like, fine, good, okay.
Go ahead.
Fine.
Oh, it's out of our hands now.
Yeah, they after Helsley said whatever he said, that postseason game they did not put the foam chops out on the seats.
Yeah.
And so they thought that would do it. And so then the fans just did it with their hands, which is probably a little bit more of a bad visual.
Let me look. It's not as bad as a pepper
Opposed to
grinder.
having like a red foam thing. They're doing it with their hand
Oh,
marching. Yeah.
Whoa.
And my whole thing on that.
Yeah, I hear you on
like,
that one.
I don't have a hot take on it. I don't care. My whole thing was you just specifically had one dude. Like there's probably only 2 dudes in Major League Baseball, maybe 5 that have Native American descent. And so like one dude said, hey, I don't like it. And you still did it. I just thought that was kind of a dick move. Like, it's like if the dude was next to you and he says, hey, man, like, I don't really care, but I don't love the chop. Are you going to chop right in his face? I just think that's like a dick
I'm not
move.
going to change my tradition for one person either. I can't. I don't drink beer. Cam, you mind not drinking next to me?
Beyond
But that's not
Get on
different.
with
But
yourself.
that's not the same, though.
beyond that, though. Beyond that.
It is in a way.
No, because it doesn't impact the person next
Yes,
to you.
it does.
How?
Because if I'm drinking, then he's probably
He's not drinking, though.
Well, it's probably hard for him to watch me do it because he can't do it, and so it affects them.
See, what bothers me.
Right, Nate?
Yeah.
Don't look for
something
Nate.
like
Don't
that.
look for Nate for the support.
No, what bothers me is that Helsley, didn't hold a press conference. He was asked about it. and he gave his honest opinion. And you hold that against him. That's silly.
No,
Helsley's a good dude.
it proves that he's kind of soft.
Really?
Yes, it does.
Because, hey, how do you feel about it? I don't like it. You're soft for saying that. Get out of
it
here
kind
with
of
that.
does. Like if that sort of thing sort of gets under your skin.
He just said he didn't like it.
Then you know what? To me, that's a red flag. If I'm a scout and I'm trying to gauge if a guy's going to be able to get the final 3 outs of a game with 45,000 people breathing on top of you in a postseason game, guess what? I'm probably not selecting that player. And that's probably the biggest,
it's mental.
That's probably the biggest factor of how a scout can impact in terms of identifying talent is whether or not a guy has balls to go out there and get 3 outs. And if a guy's getting his panties in a bunch over a chop, all right, I'm sorry.
He was
You're
one of the
probably a
best
little
relievers in baseball.
until he wasn't.
Okay.
Until he wasn't.
Listen, don't get me wrong.
When
but
the
he was
lights-
hurt. He was banged up.
He said he was fine.
They always say that.
So the finger issue, which everyone saw what happened, right? Everyone saw what happened.
But he was fine, remember? The Cardinals said, no, it's all good. Oh, wait, has he thrown in the game? No, but he's good. Okay, can we watch him pitch first? Can we maybe make that?
Well, his finger's sore and his sphincter's sore, so I'm not sure which is worse when you're out there and
unbelievable to
nobody's
me.
going to come
Everyone
save you
saw-
from the island you're
So
on
it's not
out
the
there.
finger, it's his stance. When asked about it, I don't really like it. That's why he's soft? Get out of here with that.
It proves a deeper cut.
Somebody
you know?
chimed in and goes, he's not soft for saying it. He's soft for thinking it.
What?
But he's a Native American. He's allowed to have an opinion on things, especially for his own culture. We'd have the same thing. We would have the same thoughts on
It's beta
if you
male
say
energy.
something about
I didn't say that.
being
Jimmy. Don't give me
Irish
that
or being
look.
German or being...
You guys,
What'd you
are pro-censorship.
It's beta male energy.
You guys should take over Twitter.
It's beta male energy. I mean, Cam, if a player said this in a hockey
Come on, Cam.
locker room, don't you how would that be received? Don't you think it'd be like, this is ridiculous?
That just didn't happen.
Exactly. You're not going to hear that out of a hockey
Hold
guy.
on. Because a very similar thing happened with Stand With Nas, remember? And then Craig Berube, when he doesn't come out initially and basically say, hey...
The victim? Yeah.
Well, because he didn't know of the social media stuff. What did Craig Berube say the next time out there? He goes, hey, I'm First Nation. I've heard all this crap. Racism's terrible. I felt the same stuff
He
coming
saved the
towards
day.
me.
He saved the day.
Okay, so he's also essentially, whatever you want to call it, Native American, First Nation. He's
he really is, big
similar.
time.
He's similar to Ryan Helsley, and he basically said the same thing, that I have encountered all this crap as well.
Yeah.
He did say that.
Yeah, Berube's soft too. I know, he is.
Well, I didn't say he's
I'm
soft.
just joking. He's not. He doesn't give a damn.
This
I would
softness-
say I don't
this
speak for him, but I'm
softness
thinking he probably just doesn't care. He took a beating. It is what it is. Charlie, bad take. I'm Irish and have no issue with the jumping leprechaun. These team names are out of admiration for a group, not diminishing them. I agree with that too, man. It's like people are paying money to have that in your wardrobe, and I just.
By the way, I've said that a million times.
Yeah.
I'm also.
Yes,
I can
you
show
have.
you my 23andMe.
Yeah. Yes,
Okay, I'm
you
very
have.
Irish. The fighting
Give me
Irish.
what you have.
The fighting Irish guy jumping around and being a drunk leprechaun.
That's offensive.
Does not offend me one bit. But if it does, like the one pitcher in baseball who says, "Yeah, I kind of don't like it." Like if that dude said it to me at a bar, I'd be like, "Yeah, dude, I get it." I'm not going to chop in his face.
Colby
like,
Rasmus.
right next to him.
Let's ask Helsley what his favorite Native American tradition is. He's 1/16th. I guarantee he doesn't even know anything
He was
about his
raised in an
heritage.
area that-
Besides that, he is offended by a chop because he is soft.
He was raised in an area where that tribe comes from. I guarantee he knows more about it.
But who said? And I don't even know this. But who said he's 1/16th? Is that factual?
I don't know.
No, that's Liz Warren. It was
That was Elizabeth Warren.
1/800th.
She took advantage of
But
that.
like, look at that text. You're basically saying because his name isn't Sitting Bull.
Right.
I mean, that's what you're saying. Because his name is
I
Ryan
agree with
Helsley
you.
and he looks like a white guy, he can't have an
does say
opinion.
that.
That's so stupid.
I know.
That's like
He
the
grew
dumbest
up
thing
in
I've
that
ever heard.
area. That's where the tribe comes from. Like the school is affiliated and all that, as I recall.
Nate, what's your background? Where are you
What
from?
you talking about?
Where are you from?
Yeah, let's impress you now.
Yeah.
I'm a mutt.
Yeah.
We're all mutts.
They live longer.
Most Americans
do.
are mutts.
I think I got some Dutch in me. I'm not really sure. I don't even think Lucas is my actual. I don't think that's an actual family name, to be honest with you.
Yeah, my grandfather was
my
an orphan.
grandfather was
Lipschitz.
aborted.
Your real name is Lipschitz.
Lenny Lip. Lenny
Lip
Lip.
shits. God. We'll probably find out Helsley's finger is broken in 8 places. That's the Cardinal way. Hello.
Look, I will push back against that. When a team says he's fine, you don't know that. You don't know that. Like, that actually ticked me off when I heard that. Oh, he's good. He walked off the mound in Pittsburgh injured. He had not thrown in a game since. You had no idea if he was fine. Had he ever thrown an inning, by the way, and sat down and got back up and thrown again and seen how the finger responded? No. To say he's fine is crazy. You have to see the dude pitch.
So here's what I said, and I kind of agree with you on this. But to me,
And I said that before it happened.
The fact that
No, you didn't.
the fact that he went out there and got the 2 outs and threw 100 and threw a breaking pitch, right? I think gave a false sense of ease. Mm-hmm. You should have had, and I said this too, that I would have had someone backing up ready to go. Now Flaherty, because he hadn't pitched a lot, maybe the wrong choice with guys on because he had issues. But you should have had someone ready to go. But I think that's what I gave him a false sense of security. Okay, all eyes are on him. 2 outs. He gets them easy. Okay, he's okay. They should have had someone ready to back him up.
And this is where I think the criticism is fair. That's a very tough ask for your first time back in the playoffs after the finger. Everybody knows in a normal setting that Ryan Helsley to get 5 outs is fine. Nobody would criticize that. The question is, when 3 days earlier you walked off the mound injured, your last time out, and you asked for 5 outs in a playoff game against the absolute stud portion of their lineup. And the other thing is, you mentioned Palante. I don't think it got enough criticism because we talked so much about Quintana being pulled, and Helsley was the defensive alignment where Tommy Edman gets to that ball if you're playing back. I mean, Tommy Edman almost got to the ball anyway.
I thought he should have.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, Tommy Edman gets to that ball 99 times out of 100.
You got to at least knock that ball down.
Yeah,
You
I agree
can't
with
let it
that.
go into the outfield. And then the wheels just came off. I mean, the play at home on the ground ball. Like, that's what's so frustrating is that they scored 5 runs on 3 ground balls hit to infielders. 1 to Edman, 1 to Goldie, 1 to Arenado.
I agree with that. But I honestly thought, too, a weird loss like that, they would bounce back from. But the main thing is, the big guys didn't hit. And to me, that's the biggest issue of all. The big guys didn't hit.
Yeah, I actually thought the opposite. And just being in that stadium, I thought there was no chance the Cardinals would come back from that loss. It was so deflating. That energy from the Juan Yepes homer, like just tippy top. That place was freaking nuts.
Don't you think that Major League Baseball has got to look at the length of their regular season and try to give teams like St. Louis a better opportunity to showcase their depth over a longer series in the postseason than a 3-game set against a team? Like, having it in one stadium versus another, I get it's all set up for St. Louis to have the advantage. But I just think you play a 162-game season, and then you're
over.
out after 2 games.
Well, I mean,
that is a crime.
The season started late. You want them to play all the way into February? They had to cram it. There's no travel days in certain parts of each series now anymore. I mean, that's crazy too. I agree, but I think that wasn't a normal season.
I just
and,
wonder.
and I will say this: you get 3 games at home, you should win.
There it is, Jimmy. I get that.
And it goes back to how I started this whole thing with the Phillies. You're waiting for the Phillies to be the Phillies. Well, in a short series like that, we never saw Hoskins boot a ball or Schwarber drop one. You know it's coming because that's who they are, and we didn't have enough time.
Do you think, though, if the Phillies are in the NL Central, do they have the same record as the Cardinals? I mean, similar? Like, the Cardinals played in a terrible division.
Man.
Look who advanced. I know it's the best of 3, but look who advanced to the next round. Obviously, Braves, Dodgers got a bye. Padres move on. And the only series that was competitive was against the Mets. The Brewers obviously did not make the playoffs, and the Cardinals got swept in 2 games.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
think
like you're look, the Cardinals, I can't feel that bad about the Cardinals this year because you were the 4th best team in the National League. Should Major League Baseball roll out the red carpet for the 4th best team? Like if they were a top 2 team, they would have got a bye. They were the 4th best team in the National League.
Here's the thing, though. If you were at all the games as I was, you'd see the Central Division. Once you survive that gauntlet, there's a lot taken out of you. Because I mean, sure, on paper the Pirates aren't good. Maybe the Reds aren't. Maybe they're not.
No, they work hard.
Maybe
Jimmy.
they're not quite a top 5 team. But the way they would just beat up on each other.
I do regional
Banging
cable
and crashing,
journalism at a very
smash
high
mouth.
level.
Here's another part,
Smash
though.
mouth baseball.
The Pirates and Reds are so bad. Look, remember, Luis Castillo was dealt. Even the Marlins. It's hard to beat the Marlins. You know why? And they're not even good. But they have Sandy Alcantara. They have Pablo Lopez. Those are good pitchers you're facing. Luzardo can strike out 10. You have none of that with the Reds. You have none of that with the Pirates.
No.
Yeah.
The Cubs had a couple pitchers. The Cubs are okay, but like even going through the Marlins in the East was way more difficult than the
question.
bottom feeders of the Central.
I mean, I can just tell you, like, you're looking for the lineup, and you're like, all right, do we have the Pirates lineup yet? That doesn't matter, because I'm not going to know who 2 of those guys are anyway.
I played high school basketball. Why'd you have to play that?
Charlie,
Why?
we played the best clip.
Cam
Why'd
has been
you have to play
celebrating
that?
Because it's just because we did the top 5, top 10 drops.
Was
And
that one?
I don't know if it's one. It's
That's
top.
fair.
It's top 5.
Can I hear it
Because
again?
I
for
got
sure.
you. I got you.
You did. You
Can I hear
annoyed.
it
You
again?
annoyed.
high school basketball.
Oh my God!
high school basketball.
Because it's the passion.
Whoa!
It's not the passion. It's not the passion.
It was
No.
the anger, the emotion.
It's being
Charlie.
worn down. It's being worn down and annoyed for 45 straight minutes. On a day where clearly Cam had no content.
Dude, the text line did it.
Charlie, what was
He
the
always blames the text line.
what was the mascot in your high school?
Oh God!
By the way,
What was your
I
mascot?
hate to bring this up. There was a freaking drive-by shooting. You probably heard about this at my high school football game. You hear about that?
I did hear about that.
Your high
That's my high school. Whitmer High School, Toledo, Ohio. Drive-by shooting. So the folks obviously weren't in the stadium, but I've been in that stadium 1,000 times. Super safe. You never saw anything like that growing
What
up.
was the mascot?
The Panthers.
So can you get that drop ready? I'm going to intro it.
Okay.
We've got Panther Pride.
I played high school basketball.
That's what it is. With Panther Pride.
He got me. Like I said,
I got you.
You did. You wore me down for 45 straight minutes, and I broke.
Hey, you know who else I got? Maddie.
Where Cam had no content.
So wait.
That's why I got the text sign, man. I got
No,
him
but wait. Hold
under
on.
my thumb, baby.
Hold on. Are you talking about Maddie running? No.
I chirped him so bad to where like
No,
I
hold
chirped
on.
his bloodline.
Okay, but hold on. Maddie brought it on himself. And you know I love you, Matt, if you're listening. But he's the one that said he was super fast.
He did.
I'm reacting to
we have
Cam
that
saying that the grocery clerk at Schnucks is better than me at every sport. And he just talks
The
about it
text line
for like
asked
45
if the
straight
grocery
minutes.
clerk or Charlie would win in a race.
Can
I
you?
just kept
Can we have
asking.
Matt?
Hey, I never said I was fast. Don't talk
true.
about
That's
a
true.
race.
That's true.
And don't talk about race.
I don't talk about race. Hey,
Do we have that?
what's the other drop?
What's that?
I want to hear Matty saying he's the fastest guy.
Of course we got that. Yeah.
No, he didn't say anything like that.
No,
You don't think so?
I brought this
I'm
all
probably
on
the fastest person here. I've been the fastest person in St. Louis radio for a long time.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
My
that was a
size at this
showstopper.
point. My size at this point in my life is deceptive to how fast I am.
Okay, so-
Oh, he's man, dude. Look. You know, I didn't start that.
I'm a wheel if I'm anything.
He got confidence. It's just confidence.
I love it.
Man, oh man, here
I
You
we
love
did a
go.
good job, Matty. Thanks for filling in.
He was great. He's always
do a great job.
I'm offended by Helsley stealing the song "Greatest Closer Ever" entered the game. That pisses me off, Mitchie.
That's fair.
yeah.
That's fair.
Here's what somebody said. Where to go? God,
Here's why
Cat.
Helsley, though. Here's why Helsley did not perform well in the wild card game. Because it was a day game,
And
and
you
you couldn't
get
have the red lights during the day.
Cat, the correct answer, and this is the last one. We'll go to break. The correct answer to the question Helsley was asked was, "I don't care what fans do. My job is to get their hitters out, no matter what their fans are doing."
So he should lie.
That's what
No,
he
it's not
said.
the correct
That's
answer.
That's a good answer, though. That'd be a good answer. I'd be like, "Oh, I care." I'm like, "What do I care?" They're cheering for me. Like they're going crazy. It's unbelievable. Feed off that emotion. Cares. That's all. Jimmy.
God, sometimes you're very close-minded.
Well, I mean, I am probably.
You're equating.
I probably am
with
close-minded.
me that
I'm
this
just
guy
saying.
answered somewhat 2 years ago.
Who asked him the question, by the way?
I don't even
Probably-
remember.
Nate
even
did.
Was it Saxon?
I don't know. I don't remember. But my point is, I do remember. It's not like guys gather around. I want to make a
I have
statement.
something to say.
Yeah.
Hear he.
He responded honestly to a question, and that's why he hurt his finger, and that's why the Cardinals were bounced. It's so idiotic. I feel like I have to get a brain cleanse after this.
By the way,
it's a virtue signaling hack.
they won that series, remember? They won that series versus the Bravos. And, I told this story before, but I was in Atlanta for that series twice because you had the game 1, game 2, you had the game 5. That was the blowout. Remember, I should have caught the Paul Goldschmidt 450-foot homer, left center field, went right off my freaking hands. Yeah. But when I saw the story, you had done all your pregame stuff, you do your live shots, you're ready to just sit down and actually enjoy a baseball game. When I saw that news alert that Ryan Helsley was now a story for the Native American chop thing, I looked at my phone and I swore so much because I just knew that the next 48 hours of my life was going to be dedicated to talking about that.
Yep.
And I'm fine with him saying it. But sometimes I just like watching a baseball game.
I know.
And not having it always be about something political. I like to sometimes watch a freaking sport and eat a freaking hot dog.
There it is.
Thank you,
There it is.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
But
God.
I said I have no problem with him saying it. I'm talking about
Gould
me.
asked him, by the way.
I'm being selfish.
I understand exactly what you're saying. You're saying, I don't want to have to delve into this.
Yes.
Because I just sat down.
And I just did my live shot.
Yes.
I just put the camera away.
And you're going to get a text from a producer going,
Yes.
how come we didn't have that, Charlie?
Yes.
You're not done working, sir.
That's my whole point. That's why, I hate to say this, but it's true. Like, Michael Sam, I'm glad that he did what he did. I'm all for it. If you're gay, it's cool. You're cool with me.
I like you better.
But the second the Rams drafted him, I was like, this means it's just going to be
whirlwind.
press conference after press conference after press conference. It's going to be the only thing you talk about for a month straight.
You don't like talking about
And
sexuality?
I'm fine with him doing it. Just so you know, I'm being selfish. I'm lazy.
I hear
This
you.
has nothing to do with social justice and values. This is my laziness.
Get
I
away
like to
from
cover
Fox, too.
football and cover baseball.
Yep.
I
She's a
didn't,
Marxist bitch.
I didn't cover politics. I didn't get in this genre to cover politics.
You know, the whole...
We got to go to break.
Yeah, we do.
We got to go to break.
All right,
We got
before
Ricky
we go
on.
to break, I
don't
just want
care
to
if
say
you're a Republican or Democrat.
we went down that road with Hicks and Bud Norris, by the way, and that was in reaction to a question too. Let's move on from that, please. It had
Nate
nothing to do with his
Nate
finger.
started
I
it.
started.
Nate started it.
I just called him a soy boy.